defense, number 10, Ben Davis. At the other defense, number 7, Carter Murphy. At At the other wing, number 11, Craig Schmeichel. And at center, number 3, Sawyer Robbins. And now for Team Minnesota, starting at goal, number 39, Jackson Johnson. At defense, number 23, Kellen Conway. At the other defense, number 8, Chaz Wentz. At wing, number 16, Cade Sherman. At the other wing, number 25, Jack Stonis. And at center is number 7, Tucker Johnson. And now, please rise, gentlemen, remove your caps as we honor America and play our national anthem. Good luck to both Team Rocky Mountain and Team Minnesota.
It's a great day for hockey here in Bloomington, Minnesota, as we are about underway. Day 2 action of the 2018 North American Hockey Showcase. All the games of the show are brought to you on Youth Hockey Hub. My name is Eric Zamora, bringing you the play-by-play. Greg Tinty is our camera operator and our engineer. And the two teams coming into this contest are both unblemished so far, as Minnesota was victorious by a score of 3-2 over Team USA yesterday. Rocky Mountain had a 7-1 victory over North America. Rocky Mountain in the green uniforms with black numerals going from right to left, and this is being brought in by Schmeichel, who sends that just off the mark. Top line for Rocky Mountain is Cone Schmeichel and Wolf Wolk, being centered by Sawyer Grabbins. Defensively, it will be Ben Davis and Carter Murphy to start things out, and the goaltender is Harry Bottiger. Meanwhile, in the baby blue uniforms with white numerals and black trim, going from left to right, Team Minnesota, and they'll go with Jackson Johnson in between the pipes. It's Kellen Conway and Chaz Lentz, the starting D pairing, although they're just heading off the ice right now. Cade Sherman and Jack Stanius, the wings, and centering the top line, Tucker Johnson out of nearby Edina, Minnesota. Trying to move that over was was Dmitry Temetsev. And Now it'll finally settle down. Minnesota looking to get out of the zone. Jacob Guile. This is played ahead, and the netminder wastes no time getting rid of it as Bottiger saw that there was pressure coming on from Eddie Oren. And Minnesota will keep it in the zone. They'll feed it back to the point. Guile elevates that high, knocked down out front. And this will be kept in by Minnesota. Schultz will back up to give Otten a little bit of space. Feeds the puck over to the left side. Trying to fight one through was Bronshausen, who had a goal in yesterday's 3-2 victory over Minnesota, as they step up to get this out of the zone. Ryder Betzold and Jack Stanius had the other two in that victory. Here's Rocky Mountain, and they fire a shot. Goaltender makes the save and then is able to fight off the player instead of the puck as they were battling for the rebound. No score early in the first period. Loose puck, and a loose no longer as it finally kicks out, thrown out front, and now they'll get this ahead. Otten had that one stripped away. Offside, however, as Rocky Mountain unable to exit the zone in time. So we'll have a whistle here with 11 minutes and 58 seconds left to go in the first. Face off, and it got tied up in the skates of Rocky Mountain, so brought in by Minnesota. Centering pass, nobody home as that skirts through the crease and out the other side just as quickly. Elevated high, shot is off the mark, looking for a friendly deflection. Instead, it goes into the southeast corner. Cycling it and trying to move it around. Minnesota's Ryan Betzold out of Farmington, who was the Youth Hockey Hub player of the game last night. A drive from the point by Koltkin. That doesn't get through. Rocky Mountain doing a good job blocking it. This is sent up. Rocky Mountain with time. Betzold springs Ahmet. Ahmet fires, and the netminder made the stop with his pads, then wasn't sure where it was, so as he slid over to try to occupy a different space, ends up freeing it up. This is lifted up, and like a center fielder, Bottiger gloves that one down, and he'll take a whistle. 10 minutes and 28 seconds to go in period number 1, and it is a face-off coming to the right. That's the blocker side of Bottiger, the Arvada, Colorado native. Looking for a centering pass out front. With time, Lentz banks a pass behind the cage. Then they attempt to get a clearance. That's stymied and using bodies. This is fed over. Try to go inside. Schmeichel was the intended target. Now it'll be out the other way. Wrapped around the board, Schmeichel will get there first. Centering pass out front, and a nice stop by the goaltender. Squeezes that one tight. And so we'll take a draw here with 9 minutes and 23 seconds left in a scoreless first period. Draw comes to the right of the goaltender, and a shot. The goaltender made the stop, wasn't sure of it though, and had to find the puck with the help of the official in his equipment. They'll feed it back to Schultz. Now looking to get out of the zone and into the offensive zone. Rocky Mountain has a shot that actually hit off of Schultz and headed towards the net, but it slowed down quite substantially. This is a shot elevated by the Rocky Mountain squad. Hard to distinguish the jersey numerals just because it's dark on dark. And we found out yesterday that the jerseys actually had to be a last-minute addition for the team, as there was a mix-up at their hotel with signing for a package. So not the normal jerseys that the Rocky Mountain squad wears. This is brought ahead. Clean at the line. They'll make the handoff and covered up by the goaltender. He'll get the whistle with 8:08 left to go in period number 1. We'll have just a short break in between the first and the second, just about 60 seconds. It'll be the second and third that will get the resurfacing with the Zamboni and the full break. And we've got more action throughout the day, as after the break, we'll come back with New England at North America at 5:30 at 7:15 tonight. This Rocky Mountain squad taking on USA, and Minnesota plays again not until 8:45 when they take on the Great Plains. Spinning, firing, backhanded pass to try to get out. Thrown from the point at the blue line. This is Schmeichel. And calling for it up top was Simpson. Unable to find a lane. Elevating shot up and off the mark. Now waiting, and they'll move it over to the left side. Pass picked off, as that was Wolk who got a touch on it. Brought into the zone by Core. Core drops it off there. A little bit of contact. Not enough to warrant a whistle. With it and with time, moving over was Minnesota's Lentz. Lentz now invites himself to the party as he pinches in a little. Held in beautifully at the line by Johnson. They throw it towards the net, looking for a nice bounce. They'll wait, try to set things up as Johnson backs up and rolls into the slot. Now looking to set up. With time is Conway. Conway gets it ahead. Here's Stanius. Stanius fires, blocker save, and the goaltender made the stop beautifully, but was not sure where that puck had landed. Fortunately for him, it was over to the right, and no threat from there. They'll wait. Now at the red line, Stanius withstands some pressure. Schultz battling, getting involved for Rocky Mountain was Tumentsev. Lost the handle for a moment, now a steal. Rocky Mountain with numbers the other way. They had potentially a 3-on-2, but instead they'll elect to use that opportunity to get some fresh skaters out there. And Minnesota had too many players on the ice for a moment, but they were able to spot that in time and prevent there being a too many men penalty on that play. Now Rocky Mountain with a 2-on-1. They've got a trailer. They'll try to get it over. Cutting in and getting a little bit too much under that shot. It went up and over the crossbar. Then diving over to his side to make the play is Jackson Johnson. Johnson out of Grant, Minnesota, a Mahtomedi Zephyr product. Kicked ahead. And Minnesota will send it around the boards. We're under 4 minutes left to go in the opening frame. Otten will come away with it. Otten cuts it over on his forehand. Shot blocked beautifully. And Rocky Mountain trying to survive the scare and get out of the zone. They'll do just that. They'll get to the opposition's blue line. Stopping. Fought off by the blocker, and beautiful location of that rebound. Knew he wasn't going to be able to hold on to the puck, and with a player coming in from his right, was able to push it past him and force him to back up, turn around, and try again. 3:20 to go. Scoreless first period. This is ahead. With it is Schmeichel. Cone Schmeichel out of Minot, North Dakota, the only player on this squad who hails from North Dakota. Ahead for Core from Betzold. They're good at the line. Little bit long of a pass there, intending for Ament, who's able to recover. And now they'll have to back up, however, as it's Rocky Mountain into the offensive zone. Tangled up there was Simpson, who then heads back to his spot defensively. Betzold, with time, a floating pass that he's able to settle down. Ament with it, cuts towards the net. Simpson makes sure he has no lane. Then Simpson blocks that intended pass. Minnesota has to be careful, trying to keep it in the zone. They're unable to. Schmeichel able to get it from blue line to blue line, loses possession from there. Betzold thought about making a pass on the backhand. Probably best to wait, get it on the forehand and get some velocity on it. Sent up, chipped up, not out. Held in at the point. With it is Logan Anderson. Thrown towards the net, no problem for the goaltender, who keeps it moving as that's now headed northbound. They'll tie up bodies from there. Backhanded behind the goal line, looking for an exit, and it goes off where the glass meets the boards, all the way down for an icing with 83 seconds to go in the period. We'll have a face-off coming up to the right of the netminder. Again, both of these teams play one more time this evening. Rocky Mountain, the 7:15 game against USA. Minnesota, right after that, 10:15. Their opponent will be Great Plains, who had a victory yesterday but fell to New England earlier today, 1-1, their record. We've reached the last minute of the opening frame. Player got tangled up, but not enough to warrant a hooking call. Dancing with it in the corner. Now looking for an outlet. Behind the goal line, and pressure by Rocky Mountain. That'll spring transition. Clean at the line. Shot, save, and the netminder not able to get there in time was Jake McDonald. who was looking for a rebound that would not come. To the glove side of the goaltender, they'll go D to D, and Rocky Mountain trying to set back up. With time, waiting from the right circle, and fought off by the pad of the goaltender. 3-on-2 for Rocky Mountain. They'll get it ahead. A drive off the mark, missing on the short side, and the horn will sound. No score after 15 minutes. We'll come back with the second period in just a couple of seconds. Rocky Mountain and Minnesota dueling here at the 2018 North American Hockey Showcase on Youth Hockey Hub. Right back at it. We'll switch ends and do it again. Minnesota in baby blue, white numerals, black trim, going from right to left. Rocky Mountain in green with black numerals, going from left to right. Thrown towards the net, and a pad save by the goalkeeper. Getting a touch on it was Betzold. He'll then go back to replace the defenseman who had to step up. Here's Gibson. Gibson with an offering, kicked out. Goaltender now back up as he was momentarily down in the butterfly. Ahmet fires. Again, a pad save. That one won't go down as a shot on goal, but a good idea trying to get that puck towards the net. Gibson takes a spill. Bad break from Minnesota, but he's able to recover in time, and a mini collision there. Ahmet circles the wagon. And a nice step from the left back over to the right. With it is Betzold. Into the slot. Schmeichel does a great job there of tying up the shooter. That would have been Lentz letting one go. And now all the way down, and from their own blue line, it'll be Rocky Mountain getting the change that they needed. They'll gladly take that, although works out for Minnesota as they were also in need of fresh personnel. behind the cage. And sent up and out. Lentz got to it a little bit late. A little frustration shown there by him as he realizes now could have kept the point. This time he does, however. He jumps into the action, makes the handoff, firing a shot, sweeping at the puck, and that was a great little setup. Lentz to Johnson, and Stanius took a whack at it, tried to hit it out of mid-air, didn't miss by much. 12:52 left to go in a goalie battle to this point. No score between Minnesota and Rocky Mountain, two teams that have the maximum 3 points so far in their opening games. They're trying to be the teams that rise to the top of the standings as it's sent up, kept in, and we'll break down those standings for you when we have the opportunity. But right now, it's wall-to-wall action. Calling for it at the point is Guile. Back over, Guile cycles it deep. In and out. So we've had already 2 games on the day. This will be the third, and interestingly enough, not a single team has more than 3 points. These two teams, the only teams that won their games yesterday, and playing here to try to add to it. Great Plains also had a victory, but they're now at 1-1, and New England has an unblemished record, but they're just 1-0. So the winner of this game will, at least for the afternoon, be alone atop the standings, as this pass nearly picked off. Right now, as it sits technically, we have a 4-way tie for first. Rocky Mountain, Minnesota, and New England, all with, well, I should say a 5-way tie, but with record, these two teams and New England, the only teams that are 1-0. Great Plains, as well as Great Lakes now, with records of 1-1. North America is 0-1 as they've yet to play today. And Team USA 0-2 so far in the tournament. Minnesota able to take advantage of the fact that Rocky Mountain had to let that one go due to being offside. Cutting inside and then trying to make the handoff was Oren out of Mendota Heights, Minnesota, a local southern suburb of the Twin Cities that is close enough where we'll call him a hometown hero. Looking to play it up, unable to, as Bronshausen lost the handle. A little bit of contact there, but Kultgen backing off before it was too much, and then sent out front. A grade A on the doorstep opportunity, and arguably the best stop of the game thus far for Jackson Johnson. Face-off comes to the right of Johnson, the netminder, hugging that right side post. And that will squirt out of the zone. Lentz, despite being a blue liner, will lead the rush. He's slowed down, centering pass out front into the slot. Schmeichel fights to get it out. Betzold will get there first and will wrap it around the boards. Ament at the other end tries to come away with it. Schmeichel looking up. This will be brought in, and fanning on the dump was Gabe Simpson. And because of it, the timing's a little bit off. They're offsides with 9 minutes and 12 seconds remaining here in the second period. Out of play goes the puck, 9:04 remaining. And Youth Hockey Hub has a ton of opportunities for your youngster to get involved in the 2018-2019 hockey season. Check it out at youthhockeyhub.com. But tournaments upcoming back here in Bloomington, in Moorhead, Maple Grove, Stillwater, Eden Prairie, Rochester, Blaine, and Edina all will play host to Youth Hockey Hub tournaments in the 2018-2019 season. This is a breakout over to the left side. Ament needs to come back for it, but he'll take his time and looks to set up. Guile feeds it over to the left side. Loose puck there for a moment, and the netminder was able to buy enough time. The cavalry arrived, and it was swept away. Cutting in from left to right, but nice job getting back and defending. I believe that was Guile reaching in. And with some pressure, no, it was Schultz who made the stop. Netminder saw that one clearly, and without traffic, not going to be beat there. Gives up a rebound. And we are 26 seconds away from the halfway point of regulation, and the scoring summary is as follows. That's it, nothing. These two teams battling, and a lot of times when you have a low-scoring or a no-scoring game, everybody wants to give all the credit to the goaltenders, and I'm not trying to take away any of their accolades, but let's also give kudos to both the defense and the forwards for coming back and playing stout defensively. And there have been offensive opportunities from both sides in great amounts. And there another one. Rocky Mountain scored 7 yesterday, yet to this point, they have not been able to find the score sheet. Although, to their credit, neither have their counterparts. Now in the second half of the second period, and awaiting at the other end is Bottiger. We haven't had to call his name too often lately, as Rocky Mountain has really kept things pinned down here on the east side of the rink. But just as I say that, it's Sherman bringing it across for Minnesota, and Cade Sherman out of nearby Rosemont dumping it in. Sherman gets tangled up. Johnson will elect to dump it in. Centering pass, nobody home that isn't wearing baby blue, and so Minnesota able to withstand the pressure, but it stays in the zone. Rocky Mountain will feed it back to the left point. A partial fan, and now it's poked ahead. We've got a clean break coming in for Minnesota, going to the forehand, and denied is Otten. Coming up with a huge stop was Bottiger. And now Lentz waits, sees that his squad was offside, and a heads-up play keeps possession in favor of Minnesota. Flipped, touched, but not. It was an elevated stick, but not high enough. And that's one that, when you've got players this size, they can get the stick pretty high compared to their body on a a USHL or a collegiate or NHL player, they lift it that high, that's going to be a high stick. But for kids this size, that's actually still below the crossbar, so it keeps play alive for Minnesota in the offensive zone. Guile pressured by Schmeichel, but still able to feed that ahead for Otten. They'll wait. Send it out front. Bodies tangle up. And it takes a deflection. Now finally settling it down, and Schmeichel, the intended target, Schultz instead will come away with it. Behind the goal line. And Minnesota trying to keep it in that offensive zone. Guile offers it up and astutely guided into the corner, and quite honestly, with the shot that he saw, Bottinger couldn't have put that puck in a better spot if he'd walked it over and placed it there. Nice toe drag, and just onside were Henry Ament and the Minnesota squad. They'll cycle it. Backing up. And Schmeichel had it stripped away, but Johnny on the spot, backed up, firing a low shot, and the netminder comes up with the stop. If I read that number right, it was Beckett Nystrom with the shot, and that'll leave 3 minutes and 31 seconds left to go here in the second period. Ahead, Ament will not get there in time, but it's left there by the netminder. A rare miscue, but quick back checking and defensive pressure helps out the goaltender as he left a gift there for a split second. They're able to press on. Nearly got loose, but the netminder using the blocker to cover it up will take the whistle with 2 minutes and 51 seconds left to go here in period number 2. Face off to the right of the goaltender. We're down to just over 2.5 left. When you get to this juncture of the game, even more so, we've seen some high-scoring games already, an 8-2 decision, 10-5. Great Plains and Great Lakes yesterday, 5-4 earlier today, Great Lakes and USA. And this Rocky Mountain squad defeated North America 7-1. That is not the case here. And so every goal comes that much, it becomes that much more vital just because at this rate, it looks like goals are going to become scarcer than diamonds here in this contest. Schmeichel getting back, helping out. This one's lifted up but into the bench of Minnesota. And so we will have a stoppage here with 1:45 to go. And this will go back down all the way into the defensive end of Rocky Mountain. It'll take a couple of efforts, but Rocky Mountain does clear the zone. Schmeichel Steered wide, now comes back, tries to go short side, getting a piece of it with the glove was the netminder, Jackson. Excuse me, well, it is Jackson Johnson. I was thinking for a moment it was the other way around. Centering pass, upended inadvertently was Oren. Now back 2-on-1 developing. Schmeichel going in, and it'll be sent over. Schmeichel all alone, fanning, and it's in! Kane Schmeichel with the first goal of the contest on a delayed penalty. Fanned on the initial shot, but then it just rolled slowly to her. And right at that near side post, had time to just get enough on it, change the direction, and that puck couldn't have rolled over the goal line any slower, but it counts just the same as a howitzer. 56.8 left to go in period number 2, and we've got our first goal of the contest.
Scoring for Rocky Mountains, number 11, Cohen Schmeichel. Assisted by number 7, Carter Murphy.
So Murphy set that up with the 2-on-1 and fed it over beautifully despite being taken down mistake and no such luck. Still outside of the net. That was dangerous. And the horn sounds. That's how our second period will come to an end. Cohen Schmeichel from Carter Murphy, 14:03 of period number 2. The only goal we've seen thus far. Come back, it looks to be a fantastic finish as Rocky Mountain on top of Minnesota, 1-0 with 2 in the books. You're watching the 2018 North American Hockey Showcase right here on Youth Hockey Hub. Third period with Rocky Mountain on top by a score of 1-0. They are dressed in green, black numerals going from right to left. Minnesota in baby blue, white numerals, black trim, and they're looking to get on the defensive end as here a pass 2-on-1 developing, and Rocky Mountain unable to get a shot off with it. Coming in and setting up. They try to go upstairs and get the equalizer, fought off by the shoulder of the Rocky Mountain goaltender, Harry Bottiger. With it and with time, and just as I say that, Rocky Mountain steals it away. They just miss on that connection. Stanius have the shot, unable to get it on target. Played all the way down, and it will carry him slowly over the line, icing the call, brings it back down into the Rocky Mountain end. So we have a 1-0 lead, and the winner of this contest will move ahead all alone in first place atop the standings, and that's regardless of whether it is a regulation victory or should it require overtime or a shootout. However, if a team wins in regulation, they'll have 6 points in the standings. Overtime or a shootout, they'll have 5, and that means that the other team on this side, this game will end up with 4 and be just a point behind them. So 2 teams trying to keep their records unblemished. This is brought across the line. Cutting in, firing a low shot with some mustard on it was Rocky Mountain's Logan Anderson. Anderson had a goal in yesterday's 7-1 victory to start out the tournament over North America. That goal yesterday, though, showing his blast from the point there, a little bit sneakier as he cut inside. 12:35 to go in the third. Poked away and giving chase now, Minnesota's Bronshausen. Bronshausen with it, and using and showing some strength to fight off his man, thrown towards the net with a deflection. Right idea, as that was Guile teeing one up. It took a bounce, and we've got 2 on both sides in the fray. Everybody else just looking around, seeing their assignments, seeing what they want to do, depending on whether the team wins or loses that battle. It's Minnesota who comes away with the puck. 3 minutes gone by here in the third. Guile waits, no, instead, first one to it was Minnesota's Jack Coltgen. Centering pass out front into the back door, unable to get a shot off from there. Waiting, and they'll look to exit the zone. Minnesota has to come back into their own zone, though. Coltgen slams on the brakes. It didn't fool the forechecking Rocky Mountain player. Leads to a turnover, trying to reach in, and we've got a whistle here stopping the action. The back official noticing that the net had come off its moorings. So with 11 minutes and 23 seconds to go in the third, we'll have a face-off to the left of the netminder, Johnson. With time, Minnesota's Johnson, that's Tucker Johnson, coming up with it. It's sent over to the right side. Stanius looks up, sees he's got a little bit of daylight. Now into that far side corner with some time. Looking up, looking over his shoulder was Gibson. Gibson slides it around for Conway. Conway stripped of it, wraparound attempt. Loose for a moment. Played up to the point. This is fed ahead by Putnam. And they'll wait, feed it back. It's held from there. Banking that ahead. Nystrom will be spun around on the play. Behind their own goal line, looking for an outlet. Slams on the brakes, and right idea, that created some separation. Now ahead, but it's turned over. Stanius poking it, and jumping on this one is Simpson. Tries to dangle around opposition. Conway uses his skate, kicks it to his stick, and with it, Minnesota now with time. Stanius from the right wing side, going in and hits the post on the near side. He had Sherman with him. Elects to take a shot. Right idea. And nearly gets to bear the fruit of that. 9:15 to go. Centering pass kind of into no man's land and picked off. Squad in green, Rocky Mountain. Gain the offensive zone. Lentz being as much of a pester as he can be. This is sent up and chested down by Ament. Stripped away, here's Schmeichel. Schmeichel from the red line to the blue line. Waits on the forehand and guided into the corner by the Pillows of Johnson. Penalty upcoming, and 8:43 left to go. It'll be interference, the call on Guile. So Rocky Mountain with a 2-minute man advantage, 8:43 left to go. With time, Minnesota looking for the clearance. Schmeichel on the forecheck. And covering up is the netminder, Bottiger. And you don't want to take any risks, especially with a 1-0 lead, but obviously that's not the way you drop the play on the power play. And by that I mean having to take up precious time in your own zone. But bringing it ahead is Murphy. Snaps a shot on target. Saved by the netminder. Poked away. This is sent ahead. Here's Core. Core in with Betzold. Betzold lifts it up and scores! Short-handed. Core with the setup. And Ryder Betzold is ridden into the boards hard, but he popped up immediately because it feels a lot better when the last thing you do is send a puck into twine. Probably a bruise that will feel a little bit stiff in the morning, but Betzold goes upstairs. Great elevation on that short, in tight. .7:02, time of the goal. Ryder Betzold brings it in with Core setting the table there beautifully. A 2-on-1 and not much that the goaltender could have done on that one. Sold out for Core and got over, tried to make the shot as difficult as he could. Minnesota offside and will be whistled dead as Lentz brings it into the offensive zone. But we're squared up at 1 apiece. 31 seconds left on the man advantage. Rocky Mountain can still turn this back. They can get a power play goal here in the final quarter of this man advantage, but Right now, the momentum all on Minnesota's side, and another shorthanded opportunity, this time off the tape of Dylan Otten, a Burnsville native, but Bottiger comes up with a stop. Stolen away. Now coming across, waiting, firing, the shot elevated by Anderson. And Sawyer Grabbins doing a nice job of filling in for Anderson until he's able to get back to his spot. Here's Schmeichel. Schmeichel fires as Guile comes out of the box. We're back to even strength, and I can tell you there's no better feeling in the world than you're happy when you go to the box and your team's able to not give up a power play goal and you come out basically unscathed. There's no better feeling than coming out of the sin bin after your team has struck short-handed and you still serve the full time. Otten has to fight off some pressure. Nice back check there as Murphy helps set up the steal. Schmeichel will now go after the loose puck behind the goal line. Actually, they'll overman it and send three hard in. Trying to get the shot off was Carter Murphy. And Rocky Mountain back to retreat. Here's Otten all alone, but it's just out of his reach, and the netminder is able to swipe it away. Tucker Johnson hurried that shot on the backhand, and at the other end, it's Jackson Johnson leaving it there for a teammate. Waiting, winding through is Sherman. Sherman gets that ahead for teammate Tucker Johnson. Rocky Mountain comes up with a loose puck. They've got a 3-on-2 if they can hurry. Rocky Mountain feeding it over through the crease, looking for a tap in on the back door. It would not go. Bodies colliding, but will see the official's hands staying down. No, nothing called from a couple of collisions. Sent up towards the net. It rolls towards the goaltender, and Johnson covers up with the glove. Wrapped around. And a Minnesota player lost a glove fishing for it with the stick off the bench. Here's Betzold, centering pass that actually got broken up by a shin guard, and that's dangerous, as sometimes you'll see that pass and the goaltender is already sliding over to one side. Seen a couple of goals happen that way over the years. Right into the mitt of the netminder, and Johnson squeezes it shut. 3:36 to go. Period number 3, 1-1. Schmeichel, the lone goal for Rocky Mountain, coming with 56 seconds left in period number 2 from Carter Murphy. Ryder Betzold from Gavin Core. So similar style goals as for Rocky Mountain. It was on a delayed penalty and a 2-on-1 goal. For Minnesota, it was a shorthanded 2-on-1 tally. Both of them at that east end of the rink. Cycled into the corner. .248 left to go. Again, if we do not have a goal here in the final minutes, we will go to extra time. Schmeichel gets tangled up, and I think that's a good no call. Sometimes you'll see officials kind of swallow their whistle late because of the situation. I think that was one that even in the first period isn't going to get called. Schmeichel stepping up and got tangled up. Here's one that I thought was more likely to get called, and again, we see no call as Schmeichel inadvertently takes down an opponent. Was in with Wolk, and those two trying to spring something. Schmeichel plays it up the line. This will be tapped there, held onto, bring it into the zone. Offering one off of the iron was Carter Murphy. That one hit the goaltender's right goal post and goes out of play. With 1 minute and 57 seconds left to go, we are staring at overtime unless one of these teams can come up with a late minute game winner. Bodies tie up. Sherman takes a spill. Officials say play on. Up to the blue line. Sherman had that stripped away, but it will stay in their possession. Now this is stolen away. Here's Murphy. Murphy winds through and tries to make the handoff from left to right. They'll try to feed it back to the point. Instead, Minnesota will maintain possession in their own end. Betzold banks a pass around. Handling that was Gibson. Core tries to one hand on the stick, muscle it out of the zone, and that's not successful. Waiting. Winding, and Minnesota will eventually come away with it from the left wing side. We're in the last minute of action. Poked ahead, and Ament up to the blue line, then the red line, and as soon as they gain the offensive half of the ice, Rocky Mountain with the smart idea, let's just get it deep and live to survive. Bouncing puck, spinning, Betzold pokes it away. Core now with it across the line. 25 seconds left, chipped up, ducking down, chipped ahead. Here comes Rocky Mountain, kicking it, and they're onside. Nice job coming back. Lentz making sure that doesn't get through. Minnesota now with 12 seconds left. That'll be stolen away. Rocky Mountain with a chance with one last opportunity. They fire, and it just goes through the crease. 3, 2, 1, and tied up is Murphy. The horn will sound. Both of these teams will pick up at least a point for their effort. A little bit of confusion here as the Rocky Mountain squad going over and congratulating their goaltender, but we're not done. They'll head back to the bench. It's now 3-on-3. As we'll go 5 minutes here. And then if that does not result in a victor, then we will go to a shootout. Neither team now can have a perfect record, as the winner of this extra time will come away with 5 points in the standings. They will be atop the standings, but they will, for needing extra time, have a blemish on their record. The only team right now that is perfect in the tournament is New England, having won in regulation their only contest. As we take a look at the standings, again, the winner of this will have 5. The loser of this overtime period will have 4. Then New England will have 3 points with a 1-0 record. Great Plains and Minnesota. Excuse me, Great Plains and Great Lakes with records of 1-1. Right now, North America 0-1 and Team USA 0-2. 5 minutes up on the board. And this is sudden death. Next goal is a winner. Lentz pressured, gets it ahead. Over for Betzold. Betzold skates up the left wing side. Right-handed shot, cuts around one man. Oh, spoke a little too soon. Can't quite get there. A little bit of bodying there. Betzold taken down on the play. Stick lifted by Minnesota trying to keep it in. They'll desperately do everything they can to get it out. And for Rocky Mountain, that's Simpson, a defenseman now leading the fray. 4:20 to go in extra time. Here's Core. Cuts over to the left side. Goes in. Tries to feed it over. Can't get that pass through. Ahmet was the intended target. Simpson has that one stripped away. Ahmet can't locate it initially. Does eventually. Collision, loses his twig in the process. Here comes Simpson. Simpson across. Is in with Murphy. Fires and hits it off the post. Waiting as Murphy dangles. He's out there. They feed it over. Simpson makes the shot. The save by Johnson. 3:42 remaining in extra time. Again, Schmeichel scored at 14:03 of the second from Murphy for Rocky Mountain. At 7:02 of the third, it was Betzold from Core. A short-handed goal. Should point out that Schmeichel's was actually not a special teams, but on a delayed penalty. Although it was still 5-on-5, they had not yet had an opportunity to pull the goaltender for an extra attacker. Thrown towards the big body of Guile, who swallows it up and then breaks it out. Here's Stanius going in with Bronshausen. Guile will have to get there in time and keep it alive for Minnesota. Bronshausen has Stanius. And this allows an opportunity for Guile to make the change. It's Schultz fresh onto the ice and has to be Johnny on the spot and sweep that away. 2:52 left to go in overtime. And this will be played down the length of the ice. I believe that was Jake McDonald, the last one to touch it. Simpson right back out there. No rest for your top players here in extra time. Calling for it up high was Murphy. Now Murphy will camp back with it. And that was Temensev trying to feed it over for Murphy. Murphy will get to it, but not before getting back all the way into his own end. Banked around, and that one will slow down with time. It was Simpson. Switches over to the right side. Murphy kicks it down behind the goal line. Less than 2 minutes remaining in overtime. Schultz. And I beg your pardon, that's Kultgen getting it ahead. Over for Tucker Johnson. Johnson had it stripped away from him. Outlet pass, Rocky Mountain. Bring it in, trying to get around his man, and Sherman makes a huge play. Murphy waits as they touch up. Tries to go through a drive, and it's off the mark. Last 80 seconds. Fed from down low, and an amazing save by Johnson, but can't make the second. Rocky Mountain comes up with the 2-1 overtime victory, and they will sit alone atop the standings here of the 2018 North American Hockey Showcase. What a finish here on Youth Hockey Hub. If I'm not mistaken, that was Logan Anderson, who plays for Team Alberta. We'll get a confirmation of that in just a moment. The time of the goal, 3 minutes, 46 seconds remaining in the overtime, or excuse me, into the overtime period. And so, Rocky Mountain with a regulation victory and an overtime victory with 5 points in the bank. Minnesota with a regulation victory and an overtime loss with 4. They're the only 2 teams thus far that have played 2 games and picked up points in both of them. Let's go ahead and send it downstairs to our own Tony Scott. He'll have the post-game interview with the Youth Hockey Hub player of the game. And it's Logan Anderson right here on Youth Hockey Hub.
We're here live post-game YHH with Logan Anderson, the game-winning hero. Rocky Mountain beats Minnesota 2-1 on a Logan Anderson game-winning goal overtime. Logan, congratulations on a big win.
Thank you.
All right, Logan, let's go through that game-winning goal. 3-on-3, that's a lot of fun. Talking about the goal, how did it go? How did it all finish off?
Went to the net, called for the puck. It hit the post the first time, then came in, bounced back, and just shot the puck, and it went in.
That was awesome. Awesome. Great goal. All right, let's talk about you guys are 2-0. What's it going to take for Rocky Mountain to go sweep this thing, go 6-0 in the tournament?
We're going to have to keep putting in hard work, and we need to work on our D-zone a little bit. We got to help out our goalie and crash the net and hopefully win this tournament.
All right, talk a little bit about the show. What's your favorite part so far being in the tournament?
It was probably the interviews.
Yeah. All right. Logan Anderson, Calgary, Alberta, YHH player of the game. Congratulations. Good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
Back up to you, Greg.
All right, so we have a final here from Bloomington, Minnesota. It was the Rocky Mountain squad victorious. It took extra time, but they come away with the 2-1 victory. Logan Anderson, the Youth Hockey Hub player of the game. Up next for Rocky Mountain, they'll take on USA at 7:15. The Minnesota squad will go on to take on Great Plains at 8:45. And our next game will be right back here at 5:30 Central Time, New England versus North America. We hope you're able to join us. For Tony Scott, for our camera operator Greg Tinty, and for myself, Eric Zamora, we're glad you could join us one last time. A final 2-1 Rocky Mountain over Minnesota in overtime. You've been watching the 2018 North American Hockey Showcase on Youth Hockey Hub.